Well, welcome back to the program. Let me bring in National Senator M.Canavan. Matt, welcome to the program. Federal Indigenous Affairs Minister Malarndirri McCarthy has described the Victorian treaty legislation as, and I quote, a great first step for the nation. Labor clearly have their sights set on doing this right around the country, don't they?
Yes, it's sort of a comment that encourages me to ask, I've got more questions here. What's the second step here? Because as you say, the Australian people fundamentally rejected this. I mean, already the Victorian government is thumbing its nose at the Victorian people who overwhelmingly, like the rest of Australia, except in the ACT, campaigned or said they would not want this. They don't want the voice to come into Australia. They don't want our country to be divided into different types of race or any types. We should be all Australians. So I see nothing in what the Victorian government is doing that is going to actually help Indigenous people, bar the few that might get jobs in the no doubt inflated bureaucracy as a result of this decision. And then all it's going to do is further divide us as a country. We're divided enough. There's a lot of tension. There's been protests. We actually need leaders that bring us together as Australians. That's what I think most people want.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about the ongoing furor surrounding Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price's comments on Indian migration. That circus just keeps rolling on. As a member of the coalition, you must be pulling your hair out. I mean, we've got a shocking federal government who are getting a free ride, while the Liberals argue over who should apologise to who.
Look, I'm not quite at that stage, James. I mean, it's not ideal. I prefer to be talking about other things. But look, I'm sure this will be forgotten about very quickly as well. Jacinta's a great colleague. She is an absolute rock star politically. And I'm sure she'll bounce back from this, as she has said. She regrets her comments. Look, I think the lesson of this is a bit similar to what I just answered too. That I suppose Jacinta found herself speaking about identity politics, talking about Australians as different groups. And ironically, she's campaigned against that. So she said she regrets doing that. And it's a lesson to all of us that we should just treat all Australians, as individual human beings. And our task now in the next couple of years is to decide how we think we are going to be able to help most Australians, all Australians, have a better life. Now, it doesn't matter what ethnic background you are, what sex you are, what gender you are. I just want to help all Australians. That's what we should be our number one focus, and we should totally reject the politics of identity that the Labor Party specialises in. And as I say, all it does is divide our country, and normally it leads to no good results for people at the end of the day either.
I totally agree with you on that, but just one thought. You say we shouldn't talk about, ethnicities, but if you're going to talk about immigration, then by definition, you're going to end up talking about ethnicities, aren't you?
Well, not quite. I mean, I think the issue with immigration, as I've said time and time again in recent weeks, is that we're just taking in too many people. And when you take in people from different cultures, the issue there is, we need to assimilate people. And I think that's a word we've lost from this, that anyone coming here from overseas, from a different culture, needs to, at some appropriate time, if they're going to become an Australian citizen, assimilate to our culture and our way of life. That's how we've been able to be such a successful nation in taking in so many people, because as we've taken people in, we've welcomed them, we've outstretched our hand to them, but the quid pro quo is they have adopted our values and continue our harmonious culture, our fair go, our rejection of any snobbery, or it doesn't matter who your parents are, we're all equal. So I hope we can, that's what we've got to continue. The problem is not the ethnicities per se at the moment, it is taking in 500,000 people a year, a city the size of Canberra. That just does test our welcome mat to its limit. That many people coming in that quickly, it makes it very, very difficult to have that type of assimilation program that has been so successful in the past. That's the big issue here. I want to keep Australian culture. I want to keep our way of life. I want to keep our economic prosperity. That should be the focus of our migration program.
Yeah, fair enough. Very good point. I want to talk to you about an announcement from Angus Taylor today, promising to scrap the ban on death symbols that are used by Australian soldiers, or were used rather. Angus Fraser said he will stand up to military chiefs if the party wins the next election. and once again allow soldiers to use insignia like the skull and the crossbones and the Grim Reaper. He said he wants a military that projects fear. Now, Defence Minister Richard Marles argues this is needless culture war stuff, but culture is important when it comes to the Defence Force, and that's what Angus Fraser is getting at, isn't he?
Absolutely right, and the culture war was begun by this government who decided to outlaw this stuff, right? I mean, the war has been a culture war on the culture of our defence forces imposed on them by their betters, by their superiors who think they know better. I mean, I think we should let the men and women who are actually on the front lines, and I'm going below the officer class here. In modern warfare, typically officers won't themselves have their physical safety at risk. But those below, those on the front lines, I reckon they should get to determine what type of culture they need to keep morale high, to see themselves through the most challenging circumstances that none of us can probably even fathom. If they think that a skull and crossbone, a Viking insignia, whatever it may be, helps them become a better killing machine, that's their job. Their job is to kill our enemies. If that helps them, I'll back them 100%. That's what I want to do, just back our troops.
M.Canavan?
I don't think the government's doing that by imposing these ridiculous rules.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Thanks, Matt, for joining me tonight.